Shadows Beneath the Sycamore. Prologue. Summer, 1962. The sun sank low behind the sycamore trees in Fairview, Mississippi. In the fading light, Pastor Elijah Brooks hurried down a dirt road, clutching a leather satchel tight to his chest. Inside were photographs, affidavits, and secret testimonies, evidence that local authorities had orchestrated the disappearance of 5 black residents protesting against segregated schools. The town had whispered about those gone missing, but no one dared speak aloud. Elijah knew that if he didn't hide the truth, it would vanish with him. At the edge of the woods, he dug a shallow hole, placed the satchel inside, and whispered a prayer. Moments later, headlights appeared over the ridge. Elijah straightened, but it was too late. A shot rang out. The truth was buried with him. Chapter 1. The Dare. Present day. In 2025, Fairview was a town that looked peaceful on the surface, but carried unspoken scars. Teenagers Malik Johnson, Zoe Hartman, Trevor Green, and Layla Ross met every weekend at the old abandoned library near the Sycamore Grove. One humid afternoon, Trevor dared, "Let's check out the old woods. Bet it's haunted." Malik, a history buff, raised an eyebrow. "You mean where the old protest march ended?" "Yeah," Trevor grinned. "Maybe we'll find some ghosts." Reluctantly, the others agreed. Chapter 2. The Discovery. Pushing through thick brush and swatting away mosquitoes, they stumbled onto a patch of earth where a lone sycamore stood. Layla tripped over something metallic sticking out of the dirt. "Hey, what's that?" They dug carefully with their hands. Malik's fingers brushed against aged leather. He pulled out a tattered satchel crusted with mud. Inside were yellowed papers, faded photographs, and a blood-stained journal. Zoe gasped. This looks old, like civil rights movement old." Flipping through the journal, Malik read aloud, "If they silence us, let the earth remember. If they erase us, let the trees whisper our names." The teenagers looked at each other, realizing they had found something that had been hidden for decades. Chapter 3. Echoes of Injustice. They gathered in Malik's garage that night under a single flickering bulb. The satchel contained signed witness accounts detailing police brutality, names of missing persons, including a 17-year-old named Clara James, who had organized a peaceful protest, photographs of bruised and battered protesters, a letter addressed to the NAACP, never mailed. The documents painted a horrifying picture. Fairview's authorities had covered up the murders of protesters, blaming accidents or runaways instead. Zoe's voice trembled. This changes everything." Layla frowned. "But who will believe us? It's our word against a whole town's history." Malik closed the journal with a determined look. "We'll make them listen." Chapter 4. The Resistance. The teens tried to report their discovery. At the Fairview Police Department, Officer Reynolds, whose grandfather had been sheriff during the 1960s, smiled coldly. "Old papers don't change the past," he said. "Move along." At the local newspaper, the editor refused to print their story. "Digging up old wounds helps no one," he said. Everywhere they turned, doors slammed shut. Worse, anonymous notes began appearing in their lockers. "Stop now. Forget what you found." Trevor's bike tires were slashed. Malik's mother received strange phone calls at night. Fear gripped them, but so did a stronger feeling. Righteous anger. "We can't stop," Malik said. "If we don't tell the story, nobody will." Chapter 5. The Awakening Determined, the teens created a secret online blog, Shadows Beneath the Sycamore. They uploaded scanned copies of the journal, the letters, the photographs. Within days, it went viral. Former Fairview residents who had moved away shared the blog across social media, recalling whispered family stories about the missing 5. Civil rights organizations took notice. News vans rolled into town. Reporters interviewed Malik, Zoe, Trevor, and Layla on the steps of the crumbling library. "We just want the truth to be known," Zoe said simply. Chapter 6. Truth versus Power. The mayor, under mounting pressure, called an emergency town hall meeting. The teenagers arrived clutching the satchel. Inside, half the town glared at them with suspicion. The other half sat in stunned silence. When Malik read aloud from Pastor Elijah's journal, you could hear a pin drop. A frail, elderly woman stood. "I remember Clara James," she said, voice trembling. "She didn't run away. They took her." Other older residents slowly stood, one by one, telling buried truths. The sheriff's grandson, red-faced, stormed out of the hall, but the dam had already broken. Chapter 7. A Reckoning. An independent investigation was launched. The truth was undeniable. The missing protesters had been murdered, their graves hidden under land now owned by descendants of powerful families. The town was forced to erect a memorial in the town square. A street was renamed Clara James Way. Malik and the others were invited to speak at the dedication ceremony. "We honor not just the fallen," Malik said into the microphone, "but the ones who refused to let silence win." Tears glistened in the crowd. Epilogue. A New Dawn. The abandoned library was restored into a civil rights education center. Tours of the Sycamore Grove were offered to teach visitors about Fairview's hidden history. Malik received a scholarship to study history. Zoe became a journalist. Layla, a lawyer. Trevor, a teacher. And every summer they returned to Fairview, standing under the sycamore trees that had once hidden so much pain, and promised to keep telling the stories that others wanted to bury. Because truth, once unearthed, refuses to be silenced. Would you also like me to create an emotional YouTube thumbnail title, description, hashtags, and image prompt for this story? It would fit perfectly for your racial injustice storytelling series.